Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It is the Bombara here on your Boom Radio NG. My name is Ola Dolupo, and I bid you a warm welcome to the bar today. Today promises to be a very interesting one. I was going to be talking about quite a number of things today. We're going to be talking about more about President Tinubu's trip to St. Lucia, the few things the president would say that has been busy actually during his state visit to the island. We're also going to be talking about, there's a new slash in ex-depot price of petrol. So maybe we're looking at a reduction of prices in the next couple of days. We're going to be talking about that. Also, very interesting conversation, still updates from the conversation from Mr. Peter Obi and saying that he wants to is one-term proposal, and a few people have had quite a number of things to say about it. So that and a lot of other things are things we're going to be talking about today at the bar. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. The Club World Cup is definitely bringing up so many interesting upsets right now. Very interesting surprises that we're also going to be talking about. So get ready, as today is going to be a very interesting one as usual. My name is Ola Dolupo. I bid you a warm welcome to the bar, and with me in the studio is Sola Rogers.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the Boom Bar.
Okay, so we're getting straight into the show today, and like I said, there are quite a number of things that we're going to be getting up to talking about today. But before I continue, I just wanted to put this out there that bar members could also, as you're watching on YouTube and Facebook at the moment, you could also drop your comments right there, like, share, and comment. But also, another option that you can use is our WhatsApp page. You can either call on WhatsApp or send a message on WhatsApp. The number is 080 or +234 9161 637661 +234 9161 637661. You send a message or you could call on WhatsApp to join the conversation as well. So let's get into the gist, like I had said earlier. First things first, there is a cut in petrol price again. So do we say, because we know that after the war, or the 11-day or 12-day war between Iran and Israel, there was an increase in cost of petrol, and then after that now has now dropped the cost of petrol, or the cost of crude actually. And would we say that that's the reason for this new price cut again?
Well, obviously it is, and shout out to all the people who were saying that how does the war in Israel and Iran, or all that conflict, how does it affect Nigeria? Now you know how it does, right? Because you definitely paid more over the past couple of weeks, solely because of this war and its impact on the global price of oil. And it's not just petrol, crude oil. Every byproduct of crude oil was also affected.
The up and up, yeah.
Yeah. So this again shows that we are definitely now aligned with the rest of the world. We are in a place where those things would affect us. There's no more insulation, from those events by government, where they tell you that, my microphone, where they tell you that there's subsidy. There's no more subsidy. And this is further proof that subsidy is gone. So I'm happy that Dangote is proactive. What I am not happy about is the filling station owners and Dangote's competition, because it's not the only one that supplies these products now.
Yeah.
The marketers also import. They import. They still have license to import. And of course, government cannot allow a monopoly, so they have to import. The sad part is marketers have not announced any reduction, but by extension, the filling stations have also not effected an immediate reversal.
At least the ones that
not some. Which filling stations have reversed?
I don't know yet, but the ones from Dangote that Dangote supplies, we're hoping that maybe in the next 24 hours they will. At least if nobody else does.
Yeah, so me and you are saying the same thing at the end of the day, that the filling stations have not effected an immediate reversal. And I remember the explanation that one of them gave me once, that the amount that they buy is at a certain level, and that when they sell, they're supposed to be able to use that amount of money to buy another batch of product. That if they don't increase it to the new value immediately, they won't have enough money to buy. Okay, we get that. Now that they have reduced it in cost,
Abby,
they will say, "Oh, I was at the old ex-country of 9 something."
And it's not even just
I don't tire for now.
And it's not. I don't even think it's even a what's it called now. It's not a petrol. It's not crude oil marketers issue. It's a Nigerian problem. Every single market person, every single person that sells stuff gives you that excuse all the time. They tell you they have to increase the prices immediately so that they'll be able to go back and buy stuff. But okay. And then when you come back later, and then when it reduces, there's no conversation about whether it's going to change or not. So I think it's just a Nigerian thing. And the truth is that when they explain, when this thing rises, we need to be able to go back and buy, it's a very logical conversation. Let's not lie. It is actually a very logical conversation. My issue is that when these things now go back to reduce, do you also effect that change? No. You say, it's old stock. Is that what you say?
Mm-hmm.
It's old stock. But if we go by that angle as well, it means that when you go back to buy, you're buying at a cheaper rate. So you don't need that old stock money to be able to buy this. So it's almost like as if any increase or decrease, it's the consumers that pay for it. And I think it's a tad bit weak.
So when Dangote announced that he had acquired about 4,000 or 5,000 CNG powered trucks, and that he was willing to supply these same filling stations, even give them credit, if they buy bulk. When he made that announcement, a lot of people were complaining. But at this rate, maybe it's until people like Dangote own filling stations that we are now able to get the true value of having a functional refinery in Nigeria. It shouldn't be like that.
I don't think we need that. What he's already doing with a few filling stations work, because the truth is that I don't know about other states, but if you look at Lagos State, for example, you go to the filling stations that that Dangote, you don't even need to go there, just drive past. You drive past an MRS, you go through Hayden. People are queuing up, and you will see maybe like an NNPC or total opposite, and people are not buying. So after a while, you would have to shape up because people will not buy your fuel. People these days will rather queue up where they know that they can buy cheaper fuel. And you're sure, at least to a large extent, you're sure of the quality of the fuel you're buying. So why I think it might take time for a lot of people to shape up. But over time, people will shape up because people are not buying it. You don't even need to even go through any research. You can't just see it on the road. You're driving in Lagos, you will see. There are times that even those fuel, at times, you see that it's even the same price with another filling station across the road. But, they're not going to buy there. It's a matter of, and I think that when it comes to like trade and all that, it's when people trust what you have. And it's cheaper.
Okay. Again, Sha, I get the response from Dolupo, but I'm also saying that I hope it doesn't come to that. But nobody saw Dangote investing in 4,000 to 5,000 CNG power trucks to deliver fuel directly to filling stations. And if he didn't make that move, it would have been in trouble, and it would have had to concentrate on selling its product to the market outside Nigeria. And it won't lose money, it will still make money. But I see a businessman, who also looks at survival, but also looks at the human side to business. That's what I see. I might be naive, I might be that naive, but providing those trucks and providing line of credit to filling stations is big, especially if you've played in that sector for a bit. I understand how I have friends who do that supply thing, and at times it's even their own money that they used to supply these filling stations. Then they pay them on delivery, or some even pay afterwards. And now Dangote is offering you, if you buy volume, and it's going to deliver free. Eliminating another, if it's within Lagos, eliminating another 40, 50, 60, 70,000 naira expense per truck.
So it's
So, and that's why I said that. And that's why he went to meet some of those partner stations. And that's why I said that. Because they are not enough. The other guys seem to be in the majority. For instance, the NNPC that is partly owned by government and that is supposed to be running like a private institution, they are doing well upstream, but they are downstream. We don't understand, and I'm trying to get it. Again, some of the NNPC stations I see around here have the most expensive pump price.
Yeah, some of them do.
That's exactly what I'm trying to say. And if NNPC can own refineries and also own filling stations, why can't Dangote? Seriously, why not?
Okay, so anyway, we'll see how this goes. But still talking about NNPC, since we're on NNPC, NNPC has now reported a revenue of about 6.008 trillion naira in May of 2025. The latest monthly report, was released on Monday, said that there was a slight increase in their revenue from 5.972 trillion recorded in April. Also, they have now also announced that there's now also a little bit of increase. Looks like the crude oil production is also now increased. They were in about 1.6 last month. And you know that it dropped a few months ago with the issue in Rivers State and all that. Now they're moving back up. They're saying as of last month, it was about 1.7 million barrels on average per day. They went to as high as 1.72 million barrels at some point, but on the average is about 1.7 million barrels per day.
So ultimately, their target is 2 million barrels per day, and it's looking like it's possible. If you go and check how far they've come, 1.6, 1.7 on the average is a big deal. If you look at how Nigeria struggled with crude oil output, meeting up with our target and all of that. This basically means that there's more income coming in for Nigeria, which also means that, a lot of aspects of the budget can be,
yeah, and
powered.
And the true funny interesting thing is that when the few days that crude oil went up, naturally I made quite a lot of money from that as well.
Yeah.
Even though we had to pay more, but they actually made quite a number of a lot of money on that.
And again, also their gas output has also increased.
Yeah. So I'm talking about gas. The federal government has now announced its plan to give out about 5 million gas cylinders to Nigerians before the year 2030. They're saying that they're looking to help Nigerians use cleaner and safer cooking fuel.
Yeah, so basically you're talking about a 5-year plan.
Yeah.
1 million households per year for the next 5 years. That's if they start now.
So apparently it said that in the southwest, in the south, and northeast, and the FCT, they've already started this.
And again, one of the advantages of this is that there are actually a whole lot of households that are still using firewood and other means to cook. So this would help with the reforestation process, that it will also reduce, the need to cut down wood for cooking purposes and other allied services that they use them for. So I think it's a good thing. I have a fear, and my fear is about orientation and training as per safety. If you've been using,
I hope they're installing it themselves.
Yeah, if you've been using, gas to cook and whatever, you would observe certain areas of safety, and I'm hoping that, in onboarding people into that system, they're also able to, impact in them.
Yeah, I think the
safety standards that are required.
If it's not just gifting people cylinders, if you help install, take for example, your own people come to install, for a fact that okay, your cylinders should not be inside. So if you install it yourself and it's outside, and I think that that's probably one of the most, or if not the major safety measure when it comes to using gas, because a gas cylinder being outside in air is probably the safest thing you can do. Why? And I'll say that I'm not saying that gas cylinders don't catch fire or maybe the pipe does not leak and all that, but it being in where there is air cuts down the risk of,
because it reduces the concentration.
Risk of explosion.
If there's a leakage or whatever.
And it was by like almost 80 to 90%. And I think that's like one of the major things. First things first, do not put your gas inside. That's the best thing. That's the best decision you can do for yourself. That's why I said, if they're installing it for people, that alone can cut down.
But I doubt that angle of them installing it. Sure. Me and I've seen some of these empowerment programs that you see people, they're just giving them the cylinders, and the cookers and the burners and all.
At least, but the least you can do is orientate people, like let people know the reason why this thing is so. Anyway, let's move on from that quickly before let's leave the matter of oil and gas at the moment, and let's go to President Tinubu. So there are quite a number of things that the president has been busy, and the truth is, that there was the conversation of, the president went on holiday and blah, blah, blah. And the presidency had come out saying, no, they debunked it, that it was state visit, that the president is busy. However, it was one thing to make a statement. It's another thing to see. The truth is, in the past 2 days, the president has indeed been busy. Mm-hmm. In St. Lucia this morning, there was announced, I think he addressed the Senate and the House, the Parliament this morning. The man has done a lot of things in his speech. So in his speech, there were quite a number of things that they're looking at. The president is saying that they're approving scholarship schemes for Caribbean students studying in Nigeria. So what they're saying is that a lot of Nigerians are in this country, one, and a lot of these people also have roots in tribes in Nigeria as well.
Even in recent times, I think it was St. Matthew Daniel. It was a very popular man, held the top post in Nigeria, and it was from St. Lucia. His son was also a doctor that actually served during the Civil War. We've had, that's in recent history, 60s, 70s, 80s, you get. But if you go further back, if you look at the slave trade that took a lot of Africans away, and a lot of them actually identify as Nigerian heritage, either the Yoruba or the Igbo, or even some parts of the Caribbean, the Efik people, Efik Ibibi also, because you start to hear, like recently I was watching a video and where Calypso, one of their most popular music genres is actually Kaiso. That's the history, something that is steeped in, I think, Efik or Ibibi or something. If you look at certain aspects of Patois, there are some traces of Igbo in it. And if you look at the religion that they practice, there's a lot of Yoruba in that, you know, the
influence in that,
the Oduifa and so many other things.
So they're very linked to Nigeria. The president is offering scholarship for those students who want to study in Nigeria. They're also proposing visa waivers. They're looking at going to this country back and forth without visa-free.
Even direct flights.
Yeah, direct flights, people going visa-free. You're going to that country, they're coming to Nigeria. So it's a lot of back and forth.
Reciprocity, or what's that?
Yeah, it's diplomatic, reciprocity.
Yeah, that word always. That word.
Reciprocity.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, that word.
Anyway.
Okay. Now the picture of it, you know, Nigeria has been proposing, even from the time of Buhari, a direct flight to Jamaica or, you know, to the Caribbean.
Yeah.
And we're talking about a direct flight to Brazil, which should materialize very soon.
Yeah, I think that they say that is happening very soon.
And when you check it, it doesn't make sense that there are no direct flights to those places. You know? If you look at it, it's actually shorter.
It's shorter now than first going all the way, like you're just going the merry-go-round. Anyway, another interesting thing that has now happened is that the Governor General of St. Lucia has now conferred on President Tinubu the highest honor in the land. He's now a Knight Commander of St. Lucia.
Yeah, so according to that press release, you had Sir to his title now. Because as a Knight, he's now a Sir. So it's Sir Alaji Chief Doctor.
No, wait. You know, it's normally
Jagaban.
Ashiwaju. No, wait. Ashiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Is he the Jagaman Bogu is at the end, Abi?
It's actually a title that you can call at the beginning if you want. But, you know, it's become some kind of moniker. It's become some kind of nickname.
So that,
you know?
So wait.
It's a title.
Wait. So normally he should be Jagaban Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Yeah.
So you don't no, he doesn't use Chief Abi. No.
Some people call him Chief though.
No.
I've heard people call him Chief a lot.
So it's President Jagaban Chief Sir
El Haj.
Yeah. Bola Ahmed Ashiwaju. Ashiwaju is the very popular one. Which one is Ashiwaju self?
It's a title that he has.
In Lagos, from Lagos.
It's a title that he has.
So it's Ashiwaju.
You should have.
Jagaban.
You should have been around during the time of MKO. The man had a chieftaincy title from virtually every state in Nigeria. In some states, he had as many as 4.
Remember that he just collected one from the east one time. Like,
yeah, DKC Mba. Abi, DKC Mba.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you're supposed to add Sir to it, but I think that probably just applies when he goes to St. Lucia. Anyway, I think President Bola Ahmed Tinubu just covers every other one.
If I don't put president, come and arrest me.
I'm just saying.
If I don't even remember, gone.
Okay, good luck to you. You're on that one.
Now, Jonathan, to you.
Anyway, so truth is the president really indeed has been busy in the past 2 days. I think from now he's going to Brazil. There's a summit that is happening in Brazil that is
BRICS.
Also going to
brick by brick a house is built.
He's going to attend.
Interesting thing about BRICS is that the last time they met, it was Joe Biden that was president. And the current president of America seems to have a thing or two to say about BRICS. Yeah. And he feels that their plans should not hold. One of the things that the BRICS has talked about, and of course BRICS majorly is Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. But other countries will join, but they will not change the money.
Yeah, a few of them.
Ideally, they should slot in N somewhere. You know, let it be BRICS.
But I remember that I think this was last year. It was the vice president, and then this was conversation.
Yeah, that's when Nigeria became some kind of associate.
Yeah, and he was talking about how they're not sure that they're going to totally join yet, because according to him, which I think is a very they have to break down what is the point of joining, because they have joined all these things over the years. How has it helped Nigeria?
For instance, they're talking about an alternative currency to the dollar. And what that basically means is that they demand
The monopoly.
The dollar would reduce.
Oh yeah.
And trade will probably even move faster. I know the Americans don't like this, but that's one of the things that BRICS is talking about. And if that happens, it enhances trade amongst the members of BRICS. But the funny thing is, of course, you have the non-aligned movements one time. Now we're talking BRICS, but there's the G7 and the G this and the G that. The bottom line is, how does it affect?
How does it help Nigeria? That's it.
The entire populace of Africa now, even beyond just Nigeria.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting on that. But anyway, we'll be talking about, we're moving on from that quickly. Well, we'll definitely keep tabs on the president and his sojourn. Now, moving on from that, and the House of Representatives, the Ad hoc Committee on Rivers State, has now issued a 48-hour ultimatum to the Sola administrator of the state, saying that it should submit a breakdown of major items in the 2025 1.48 trillion naira appropriation bill. This was asked by the chairman of the committee. This is Julius Ihonvere, where he had said this, and they were talking about one of the things that they have pointed out, that there was an allocation for 24 billion naira for CCTV cameras to be installed around the government house. And I like questions. Yeah, people should ask questions. But my question is, shouldn't this question have been before the budget was passed? This question is like, why are you asking for a breakdown of something that has already passed? Shouldn't you have asked for that breakdown before the man came to defend the budget?
But wait, sir, before we even come to that, let's take a look at that item.
Yeah.
CCTV.
Yeah.
24 billion.
Yeah.
How many state houses for all the governors in Nigeria?
One.
Just one.
One.
How big is the place?
I don't know. I've never been to Rivers State before.
Maybe they don't want to use CCTV. Maybe they want to use all these cameras that TV stations use.
I don't know.
You know those high-tech ones?
Never been to Rivers State. I don't know how their House of Assembly is.
Didn't you sleep there once for one?
God forbid I sleep there.
You snuck there.
I did not sneak in those. I don't sneak around.
Some student think that you.
I don't sneak around. I do not sneak around. Right. I'm a good child.
All right. Don't worry. Your mom doesn't watch this.
No, it does.
So you can actually.
I do not sneak around.
You can confess your sins.
I can say for a fact. I do not sneak around.
Snow was for a student thing.
I did that.
Okay, where did you guys go?
It was Calabar.
Okay, what's the difference? All right.
What meaning?
You passed through. So what I was trying to get at is that maybe some cameras are more expensive, and some cameras can actually see your intent. There are cameras now. No, I know. There are some cameras now that they can read your facial expression, read your mind, and know that you are up to no good. Then it will now send your BVN and your NIN and your number to the police, and they can arrest you.
But my argument is these nonsense questions should have been asked before the bill was passed.
24 billion. Well, let's see, Sha.
That's my own. Why? Because it is at the point before you pass it that you'll have said, no. This thing is not making sense, and we're cutting it down, slashing it by half or by 10%.
But that's the beauty of oversight, too, Sha. The fact that they can still call it.
This thing was just passed like last week or a few weeks ago. I think it's absolute nonsense. And this is why we see these things. They'll say they are doing oversight functions. Those are the things you should have done before it was passed.
If you're using 24 billion to install CCTV, how much is the entire building? Didn't one governor say he wants to use 60-something billion to renovate a whole state house?
40. No, 60.
It's 60-something.
Oyo State.
Yeah,
a house that he doesn't live there.
Is
the same amount of money that the IGR that the state generates in a year. Is the one that I want. Keep in mind, I didn't even know. Apparently, he doesn't live there.
How would he?
He don't live there, and he wants to renovate it. For what reason?
Well, should he let it depreciate?
It's
just the value that I have.
So why is he leaving?
Yes, Wike did not stay in the state house. Maybe if he did when he was governor, there won't be a need to be installing CCTV now.
So why a governor that is about to leave the place, but he wants to suddenly renovate it?
2 years now.
He didn't remember to renovate it when he first. A governor that spent over 6 years in government.
But he still has 2 years.
We're not a serious human being.
63
We're not
billion.
a serious set of
He's
people.
just sparing
He
now.
has also. They are also querying his 30 billion naira for purchase of gunboats
I won't question security
in
things.
Rivers State. 23 billion for contingency reserves.
What are you contingency?
I don't know. The Asha said that he should come to Abuja to come and explain himself.
Bow.
And talking about but also they should also remember that this man is a retired army officer. So no, I'm not saying that it should not be. I'm saying that maybe some things in like security, do you understand? Maybe he would prioritize
23 billion contingency.
No, let me finish now. That he might prioritize security over some other things. I'm just saying. I'm not speaking for him. It's just my opinion. However, I think I remember seeing a report there saying that someone was saying that that now that Fubara and Wike have settled their fight, that it's time for the Sola administrator to pack his load and Fubara to come back. I say, why are we lawless in this country?
That's not how it works.
Why are we such a lawless bunch? Or why are you people such a lawless bunch? Because I'm not. Why are you such a lawless bunch? There was a process to how he was removed, though. Where we're all here, the assembly has to do this, the assembly has to do that. But then, all of a sudden, the president should just, wake up on and say, you know what, be going to your house. It doesn't work like that. Let's stop behaving ignorant. Thank you. I just wanted to put that in. If I had not said it, my body will not come down. Anyway, moving on from that, the NCAA has grounded, that's the Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority has now grounded Rano Air plane after a mid-air engine failure. I know last week they also grounded another airline. What they're saying now is that you have a minor fault, you are grounded for at least 3 months to sort out your issues.
The airline or the plane?
The airline.
The entire airline?
Yeah, they do. They actually, I think it's the airplane. Let me confirm, please. I will confirm.
Okay. Anyways, I welcome any punitive measure, but let it not be overboard. You can't throw out the baby with the bath water. And let's not have any mishaps in the air anymore.
So according to them, it's the plane. The aircraft is grounded for a couple of months for it to be sure that those things happen.
Thank God there were no casualties. Thank God they found out on time. Thank God there was a mayday and everything was sorted out.
Mm-hmm.
Fire in the cockpit or cabin space or whatever is dangerous. Fire anywhere is dangerous.
Even down, yeah, up, yeah, anywhere it's a very dangerous. Anyway, the Aviation Ministry and the Nigerian Air Force are set to stage Nigeria's first international air show.
Yeah, I know that the Minister Festus Keyamo has been really working towards this. Was it Paris or so last week? Basically still working towards organizing Nigeria's first air show. It's supposed to be something big and all of that. I think, before people start to criticize or break down stuff, look at the pros and the cons. One of the pros is that, of course, it adds to, the entertainment value. It also adds to growth in that aviation industry because you can now attract more exhibitors and everything. There should be, beyond the show, some kind of exhibit. Then, I think it's looking at December. And, from 1st December is 30.
Oh, yeah.
You understand? So,
so
there's a whole lot of stuff that's tied to it.
Yes.
But staying in the aviation industry, there were talks of how they restored BASA in one place or the other. And there were talks of how, the Minister of Aviation was talking about how they were trying to arrange some deals for Nigerian airlines to be able to buy planes on, wet lists or what they're called.
Yeah.
And I think they need to expedite that so that more airlines can access, these funds that will allow them get the right kind of planes in Nigeria. Air travel in Nigeria is so crazy now, it's so expensive. And the airlines, as much as we don't like their failures, we also must understand that they are doing it the hardest way.
Yeah.
Many other airlines outside this country, they don't have to buy their planes outright. But Nigerian airlines have to. And I don't think that should continue.
That should continue. Moving on from that quickly, troops have neutralized 10 Boko Haram terrorists and recovered weapons. I think that was in Borno State. Kudos to them. Now, let's move on quickly from that. And students in Oyo State, specifically in Ibadan, are now protesting against the renaming of the Polytechnic Ibadan over the weekend. On Friday, if I was specific, on Friday, a former governor, probably the shortest serving governor of Oyo State, Omolulo Loyo, was buried, and the governor had announced that the Polytechnic, where he was the very first principal of the Polytechnic, is now going to be changed to Omololu Olunloyo Polytechnic Ibadan instead of the Polytechnic Ibadan. And from that day, there are quite a number of people and students that have had a lot of things to eat. Now they're officially protesting on the streets.
I saw videos of people gathered, by the seat of government in Ibadan. Where they have that big drum like thing at the top of the gate. I'm like, wow, it's a serious matter. And it took me back to the days of the former governor, the late governor now, where he came out to address it in the same place, and where he told them that that is the constituted authority, And I remember that became a thing.
Yeah,
But let's address the issue itself. I actually don't have a problem with the governor naming the place after a former governor of the state, Omololu Olunloyo. I would have wished that they did this while he was alive. At times, it's good to get your flowers when you're here.
Yeah, it's because the man was actually not just a politician; he was actually a scholar.
Yeah,
I think he was a mathematics scholar. And all that. Yeah,
it would have been nice, when we honor people while they're alive. Let's imbibe that culture too. There's no until people die that you do things that they will never know about. But I get where some of the people are coming from. At times, we're so used to certain things that we resist change. But I want to look at it from an angle of how does it rub off on you negatively? You get?
Which is?
University of Ife is one of the biggest, oldest, and best universities in Nigeria. And it was named after Awolowo after he died.
Yes, sir.
You get? Taisholari got, I think it's College of Education or something, Taske or something named after him. I didn't hear about protests. But I know that Unilag was a problem when Goodluck Jonathan tried to name it MKO Abiola University. It actually became a big problem.
I remember that time as well.
People fought back.
But
they said that he didn't go about it the right way.
So now my question with that is that what is the process? Does the governor have the powers to? And the people protesting, and I'm all for protesting for your right, but I'm also for, if I'm going to protest something, I'm someone that I don't like looking stupid. I don't like it. So if you do something to me and I want to protest that I don't like it, I should have concrete reasons, laid out reasons why I don't like this thing and why I think that is affecting me negatively. Please.
What are the reasons that
that's just they should leave it is a Polytechnic. Like, I've not seen, honestly, I'm sorry, I have not seen one valid reason. Like you said, maybe University of Lagos, the problem was, he didn't go about it the right way, which is a valid reason. Did the governor not go about it the right way? Did he, the highest number of years you can spend in Polytechnic of Ibadan is 4 years. I carry your bag and you go. Does the name affect your certificate? Does it mean that they will change your course to Omolu Lawyers? Please, that's where my own issue is coming from. If tomorrow they say, is no longer University of Ibadan, and they say, what's the name can they call it to? They say, is Abiola Ajimobi University. Good luck to anybody. Does it change your certificate? Does it mean that you are going to stop going to school? That's my own. Like, I would like to hear valid reasons why this thing, do you understand, why it should make sense and why it doesn't, or why you are fighting it so much. Let's just not protest all in the name of, oh, you're wanting to protest, oh, you can protest. This is how people will not take young people seriously. You have to come out with proper, meaningful reasons why you don't want something. That's it. Maybe
so will the governor fold, or will he stand his ground and become another constituted authority?
Please, I hope he doesn't. In my own opinion, I don't think he should, because the minute you do it, then everybody feels,
the next
what are you doing?
Of the Bomba.
Because the minute he folds, I feel that, especially if he's done it the right way, the minute he folds, everybody else feels that you can just protest whatever. It's in a name. That's it. Go to school and leave the place. End of story. Anyway, also coming down to Lagos State, something interesting happened. As a Lagos monarch has now dethroned 6 chiefs, and I won't even call them chiefs. They are high chiefs because they are bales. Their bales is like village heads, basically. They're not just chiefs, yeah? They are actually very traditional chiefs for attending a Labour Party campaign. Apparently, according to the monarch, he said that these people not only went, they went in to represent him, and that he did not tell anybody, especially to represent him, especially in a political gathering, that he's not, according to what he said, that he is not interested in politics.
Okay. Who's the monarch? And
the monarch of Ijora, I will look for his name, but I know it's Ijora something in Lagos.
Okay, so what if it was the ruling party in Lagos that these people went to?
Please, I don't know. Don't put me in trouble. I don't know anything.
I'm just asking, no.
The man said that they should, and I think that where I would say that they erred for me, yes, the Ojora of Ijora and Igomu Kingdom.
Oh wow, it's a big king.
So where I think that, okay, so the chiefs that attended the campaign flag off of the Labour Party in Apapa ahead of the Lagos State local government polls, they're saying that they now attended, saying that they were representing the king. And this is where I fault them. I don't think that, even being chiefs, I don't think there's anywhere in the law that says that you can't be partisan. I don't think you should be, but we're in Nigeria, let's call it spade a spade. But also, I don't think the king will stop you from joining whatever party it is you want to join. But going to claim that you are representing the king,
Please excuse me. I think that's where they erred, and that's why that headline is a little bit deceptive, because it's not because they went to the Labour Party's event. It's largely due to the fact that they claimed to be representing him while he did not, endorse that.
In fact, according to him, his specific words was that they were impersonating him.
Interesting, but once again, politics has read its beautiful head, in our institutions, and I keep praying for a time where, there's a clear-cut distinction between traditional institutions and political.
Let's just even be having sense. The man, you can't even blame the man at this point, and people somebody that is paying his salary, let him just stay. I didn't say anything. No. Anyway, Aliko Dangote's grand uncle, Alhaji Dangote's body has now arrived in Saudi Arabia in Medina for his funeral. I think his funeral is supposed to be after the afternoon prayers. And quite a number of people, government delegation. I think as of this morning, the former APC National Chairman Ganduje. Quite a number of people have been there. People like Femi Otedola, a lot of people have actually gone to so that they can attend this the funeral of this illustrious man.
Yeah, according to statements and information, majorly information out of his family, they say that he had a request that he be buried in Medina. And of course, you know that when people go for pilgrimage and they pass, that's where they are buried. You get. But in his own case, he wasn't on pilgrimage. He wasn't living
he was
there.
in Abu Dhabi.
He was in Qatar or something, you know.
It was in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, and so they had to, put in an official request. And, I saw some information, and according to the source, it says that, his family had always been, a part of the Medina setup. And even the Baba's own father, too, was someone that contributed a lot to...
Why a bigger bag?
Yeah, to
That's
the growth.
it.
But you cannot take it away from the Dantata family. You're talking about generational wealth.
Yeah.
You can't take it away.
Yeah. Anyway, Naptip is not smiling with Mr. Speed Darlington. I know that they had put out a statement, put in his picture all over the place, and he had also come out to say that he should stop looking for him, that he didn't do anything, that what he said, I think earlier he had said it was just a prank, he was just
said
looking
it was
for
a joke.
Attention, but looks like Naptip is not playing. At the moment now, they have now gone ahead to alert Interpol.
Yeah, because...
placing him on watch list.
So Speed Darlington is out of the country, and if you're wondering what happened, apparently he had made a video, and in that video, he had said some things about a minor, a girl or something. Whether she exists or not, we don't know. According to him, it was just some kind of prank or joke, and that has been taken too far. And of course, we was talking tough at some point. But as soon as that news broke a few weeks ago, some people brought out a story of maybe where he used to live, where something similar was alleged by the mother of a child, somewhere in Lagos. And of course, he debunked it and said it wasn't real and all of that. And it looked like everybody had moved on. That's what it looked like.
Apparently, Naptip didn't.
But Naptip is there on this matter and everything. And it leads me to a disturbing video that I saw a few hours ago. On Twitter, I saw the image of a little girl, a child. She's a toddler. I doubt if she's up to 1 year old. And there's this alcoholic beverage in a sachet, some kind of bitters or something, that the person was putting in the child's mouth. More or less having a drink, that thing, and it was very disturbing for me. And most times when I see those abuses, any case of domestic violence, child abuse, I always pray at the back of my mind that it's Lagos. Not like I want bad things to happen in Lagos, but solely because there's the LSDVA that is very, very effective.
They are very on top of their game with
Lagos
those things.
has a system that is protecting our people. And I'm wondering why we have not been able to replicate this at the national level. Do you know that some cases of domestic violence, people actually come to Lagos?
To seek justice and all that.
We don't even know if jurisdiction will allow them, but people actually do these things. So anything that has to do with children being harmed or being abused, like I saw in that video, or the alleged actions of Speed Darlington, I always hope that there's a national body that can speak to it, and it looks like Naptip is stepping up in this regard.
So shout out to Mr. Speed Darlington, but it looks like Naptip has decided to put a noose on your neck, and I hope that he actually gets arrested to actually explain whatever nonsense, and I think this will also teach some other people to be able to not just open your mouth and see anything. And speaking of those things online, I also want to talk about something which I think I've seen once or twice. And is this nonsense challenge? Apparently, they're doing it on TikTok. It's called the Imbe Challenge.
Okay.
So that apparently they are mimicking literally children that are
Down syndrome.
yeah, and all that. That's basically what it is. And I think that there's nothing as distasteful. In fact, I even saw a video of this very popular guy, this very popular TikToker now. This young
Nigeria's
boy,
_1 TikToker.
Pella.
Pella.
Yes.
He did it too.
Yes. And I've seen a few people talk about it, and I think that how distasteful
and people find
could
it
you
funny?
be? I don't know. I'm not on TikTok.
The fact that it's trending.
So where I saw it was I think it was actor K-Tenshaw that posted the video and was talking about it, how despicable this nonsense
all
is.
shades of wrong.
So that was how I saw it, and I think I've seen Chigel also talk about it. I think I saw I think there's this comedian Wole also talk about it. So apparently I think it's gaining ground on TikTok, and it's all shades of wrong.
How do we come up with this thing? Sorry.
Like, do you get how do they come up with these
things?
things? It's just wrong on all levels. Anyway, quickly before we go, there are quite a number of things we want to talk about. IPAC chairman, I think that's independent political parties chairman or something, that's what they're called, is talking about how Peter Obi's ambition of saying that he wants only one term is a proposal to the coalition. And one thing that he's saying is that he doesn't think any northern person is going to believe that.
We had a caller yesterday on the show at the Boom Bar. I think it was my namesake who was calling from America, and he said it too, that if you believe that, you believe anything, more or less. Me,
I agree.
It's hard. Maybe Peter Obi is a different type of politician. Maybe he feels that, like he said, in 2 years he would have fixed everything, and maybe the remaining 2 years will be for Jollof. So maybe 4 years is enough.
Anyway, the ABC has now fixed their NEC meeting for July 24th. This is where they're supposed to pick officially a new chairman of the party. Now, moving on from...
they don't do Congress for chairman?
Apparently.
Okay.
So moving on from that quickly, let's do quite a number of sports things if we could go through. Apparently, there was the top half of a stadium in Algeria fell off, and about 4 people have died during a game.
Yeah, that's so sad.
It was really, really sad.
A few moments, just as we were starting the bar, Kepa became an Arsenal player.
Oh.
Yeah. Kepa, the keeper, you know, he is now fully Arsenal.
I think
I saw it from the Arsenal under.
I think that Arsenal is doing a lot of subtle...
they're moving, man.
They're very subtle
They're
things.
moving.
A lot of people are not playing at this point. Now the Club World Cup. The upsets that we saw yesterday. Shout out to people that bet, because I have a feeling a lot of people will have lost a lot of money. People would have rather... I don't bet, but with the look of things, you probably would bet on Manchester City.
Defending champions.
And Inter Milan. Do you understand? That they would go past, what's it called? What are they called? Al Hilal and Fluminense.
Yeah.
You would never have thought
a team
that
from Brazil and a team from Saudi Arabia. You would have thought that, come on, the Europeans were going to
you never
run
would have.
rings
You never
around
would.
them.
Yeah, Inter Milan literally got to Champions League finals. Like, you never would. And funny enough, if we go by Man City, you say, okay, last season Man City was not the best, so you can even cut them some slack. I'm very angry for Inter Milan. Like, you people just came to bamboozle us and...
Please, who did Man City play?
Al Hilal.
Why will I cut them slack?
But, from the get, if you start this Club World Cup, in fact, I remember a lot of people saying that, because a lot of people are rating Saudi clubs off. And they're like, the way these people are set, it doesn't look like they're here to play.
Dolupo. if you bring that team to the Premier League,
Will
they win the Premier League?
Because some of them,
Man City-
they're actually old players, or the European players that are in Al Hilal are actually like people that
I'm
they
not
don't
putting
want
them
in the
any
Premier
slack
League.
at all. They got
That's
walloped by a team from Saudi Arabia.
That was FD. That was FD.
City should cover their faces in shame, man.
That was FD.
In fact, none of them should get a salary this week.
And Inter Milan,
They should donate it
Fluminense
to charity.
actually beat you 2-0. I know that yesterday's games, I did not see that coming. Nobody saw that coming.
Nobody.
I think that this Club World Cup is setting up to be probably one of the most interesting ones that we've seen so far. It's nice. It's nice for football. Let's see how far these teams can actually go and make it. Nigeria has officially qualified for the Beach Volleyball World Championships.
Whoop, whoop.
Also, ABU has won the 3x3 collegiate basketball tourney as well. Also,
Yeah,
I think in Ilorin...
That's Olumide Oyedeji's
Yeah.
tournament.
In Ilorin, there's a whole FA Cup parade.
Started yesterday, man.
Yeah, the governor gave them money as well. However, in Ebonyi State, for the Federation Cup, even though they did not win, I think the governor had given Abakaliki FC. He had given them each player 1 million naira each. I don't think they've ever really gotten to that point before and all that. And
I hope they get a new boss, a more befitting boss than the one that crashed yesterday.
Yeah, I'm actually happy that looks like a lot more state governments are getting more involved in.
And there's more money now.
True. That's FD. That's true. There's a lot of money. That I agree with you. I agree. I forget. Now I remember. There's quite some money. There's a lot of money to go around. Anyway, sadly, rescuers are now evacuating over 50,000 people as Turkey is battling wildfires. There's a lot of issues around the world. India, about 36 people have been confirmed dead after an explosion that happened at a drug factory in India. And a report has now been released that about 14 million people might actually die because U.S. had cut foreign aid to different countries. And while some countries might be able to afford it and close up the gap, a lot, especially the ones that there are wars and there's a lot of insecurity there, might not be able to close that gap.
That's really sad, though.
That's a really, really sad one. Anyway, on that note, that is all we will take today on the bar.
Can BRICS step in?
Okay, we'll see. Anyway, on that note, thank you for listening. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back again tomorrow at 3 p.m. West African time. Likes, share, comment, subscribe. It is Boom Radio NG on all our social media platforms. Have a beautiful, beautiful day ahead. Peace.